the simulation breaker. They told you Epstein Island was just an island, a place for parties, for blackmail, for powerful men doing powerful things. But what if that was just the cover story? Because the real secret was never the bedrooms. It was the main office, the building nobody talks about, the room nobody ever filmed, the room that didn't show up in the documentaries because it wasn't meant to be seen. A locked door, no windows, no decorations. Just a cold steel handle and a keypad that didn't match the rest of the island. And inside, not gold, not money, not names, a breaker panel, industrial, government grade, with labels that make your stomach tighten the moment you read them. Media control news. Loop, social trend, engine, emotion, feed, and one switch. At the very bottom. The letters were faded, like it had been touched too many times, like it had been pulled before, and written above it, in black marker, simulation. Now think about that. Why would a man like Epstein, connected to intelligence agencies, scientists, billionaires, politicians, need a breaker labeled simulation? Unless that island wasn't a playground. It was a control room, a hub, a server node, a place where the world's most disgusting secrets weren't just hidden. They were used as leverage to protect something bigger, because if the world ever stopped believing the story, the program would crash, and that's when the what if turns into something darker. Because imagine this. You're standing in that office. The air feels heavy, like the room is pressurized. No sound, no wind, no insects outside. Almost like nature itself is on pause, and your hand reaches for the breaker. For a second you feel it, that strange instinct, that invisible warning in your skull. You are not supposed to touch this. But you do. You pull the switch. No alarms, no sirens, no Hollywood explosion, just a soft click. And then the lights flicker outside the window. The ocean freezes mid-wave. Birds hang in the air like suspended puppets. Clouds stop moving, and the world goes silent, then black. Not like darkness, like the screen shutting off, and you're still standing. You can still breathe. You can still think. But you're not on an island anymore. You're not on Earth. You're in a room that feels too big to exist. A cold, endless chamber. Walls stacked floor to ceiling with monitors. Millions of screens. And every single one is playing the same thing, your life. From angles you never saw, your childhood, your mistakes, your private moments, your pain, your love, every conversation, every breakdown, every secret. Recorded like gameplay footage, then you see it. In the center of the room, a chair, a headset, a controller, and floating. Above it, a menu screen, glowing in the dark. Life on planet Earth. Difficulty, hard mode, memory wipe enabled. Objective, survive until awakening. NPC AI. Active free, will limited media reality. Filter, enabled. And your blood turns to ice when you notice the last line. Because it doesn't say new game. It says continue. Meaning, you've been here before, and you didn't remember. And that's when the real conspiracy hits you. What if the elites aren't running the world? What if they're just the ones who know it isn't real? What if the blackmail wasn't about sex? What if it was about keeping people trapped in the game? Because anyone who wakes up breaks the system. Anyone who questions too hard starts glitching the code. And what if that's why every civilization in history has the same story? A flood, a firmament, a creator above the sky, a world that feels designed. What if Genesis wasn't religion? What if it was a corrupted memory? A leftover fragment of the tutorial, leaking through the wipe? And what if the dome wasn't a dome, but the ceiling of the simulation? A boundary layer, a limit, a firewall between you and whatever is outside. Because if you're inside a game, space isn't fake. Space is just the loading screen, and the moon isn't a rock, It's a light source, a clock, a tracker, a camera, and suddenly, all the lies feel connected. The governments, the secrecy, the missing files, the silenced witnesses, not because they're hiding crimes, but because they're hiding the truth. Earth is a controlled environment, and Epstein Island wasn't just a trap. It was the place where they kept the switch that could shut it all down, the switch that could wake you up. And now you understand the real fear. Not aliens, not demons, not even God. The fear is simpler. Because if you ever find that breaker, and you ever pull it, you might not escape. You might just wake up in a room you've always been in, and the worst part, you'll realize this isn't the first time you tried to leave, because the system doesn't punish you with hell. It punishes you with something worse. It makes you forget. It sends you back. It hits continue, and you respawn as a baby on Earth. Ending line, mic drop. Maybe the scariest question isn't, is this a simulation? Maybe the scariest question is, how many times have you already figured it out and been reset?